Hello, everyone. So this is the final video, the fourth and final video on chapter 5. We will be focusing on section 5.5, the mitochondria and chloroplasts. After this video, we will then proceed to the next segment of Unit 3, which is on cell signaling in chapter 9. So let's have a look at this section. The learning objective for section 5.5 is to summarize the evidence used to determine the likely evolutionary origin of mitochondria and chloroplasts. There are two sub um, learning objective for this portion. First is to be able to describe the role of mitochondria in plant and animal cells, and also to describe the role of chloroplasts in plant cells, and of course, understanding these roles within the context of their possible evolutionary origin. So let's go over the mitochondria briefly. We already encountered mitochondria in fact, in quite of a bit of detail in Unit 2 when we studied cellular respiration. So mitochondria, if you look at them under the microscope, they are rod-shaped organelle that harness energy from chemical compounds like sugar derivatives and convert them into ATP, which is the usable energy used by the cell. They are present in nearly all eukaryotic cells. Okay, not everyone. There are exceptions to the rule, but mitochondria, if you notice, and this is a very important property, is that they have a double membrane. So you can see it here, that outer membrane and inner membrane, and they have an aqueous compartment in between. And the inner membrane, in fact, is actually has convolutions in it. So this, which increases the surface area for performing important functions for respiration. The If you recall in Unit 2, a proton electrochemical gradient is generated at this inner membrane. The energy that is stored in the gradient is then used to synthesize the ATP. So this is essentially what the mitochondria does. The other special organelles are the chloroplasts. Now, chloroplasts are also surrounded by double membrane, like mitochondria. So they have an outer membrane right there and an inner membrane. And they also possess a third membrane system called the thylakoid membrane. And like in mitochondria, they're also highly convoluted, and that allows them to have a um, large surface area to perform their particular functions. The chloroplasts are, of course, as you know by now, capture the sun's energy in order to synthesize simple sugars for use in the plant cell in a process known as photosynthesis. So they are remarkable in their ability to convert photons or light energy into chemical energy. So this thylakoid membrane contains light collecting molecules called pigments, of which chlorophyll is the most common, which confers a green color to the organelle and eventually to the plants that carry them. And it is important to appreciate the fact that these chloroplasts are perhaps the the major device by which all chemical energy that is needed by all organisms um, are able to be produced as a result of their unique capacity to harness the energy of the sun. So, based on the structural features that biologists observed uh, of mitochondria and chloroplast, um, it seems as if these mitochondria and chloroplast actually might have a distinct origin as opposed to the endomembrane system. And one of the remarkable and interesting and intriguing observations is that mitochondria and chloroplasts are actually not part of the endomembrane system. So this might suggest that their origin is perhaps independent from the endomembrane system in eukaryotic cells. It is also remarkable to realize that both of these organelles harness energy for the cell. Now, it is believed, therefore, that these organelles were once bacteria that were captured by the eukaryotic cell and over time evolved their current functions within the eukaryotic cell. So, for the chloroplast, it is now currently believed that they might have originated from ancient photosynthetic bacteria, perhaps similar to the ancestors of cyanobacteria, whereas the mitochondria might have evolved from bacteria that do not perform photosynthesis. So some um, bacteria that's independent for chemical energy in the environment as its food source. So the evidence to this idea or notion is that both of these organelles, in addition to their unique capacity to harness energy and generate ATP, is that they contain their own genomes. So each of them have actually their own DNA, genetic material. And intriguingly, they also grow and multiply independently of other membrane compartments. As I've said, that they actually are not part of the endomembrane system. They're very distinct from them. Also, they are made of double membranes, suggesting that their ancestors might have been engulfed by a larger and cell and gradually developed a symbiotic relationship with that host cell. So this led, all of these evidences led to the so-called endosymbiotic theory for the evolutionary origin of mitochondria and chloroplasts. It's in the endosymbiotic theory simply states that these um, ancestors of mitochondria and chloroplasts was engulfed by a host cell, and eventually, because of their ability to provide energy into the cell, has become established and become part of a symbiosis between them and their host cell. So this slide is the last slide for the chapter 5 material. There is no brief question for this section, so feel free to move on to the next segment, the series of videos on cell signaling in chapter 9. Thank you.